Hey everyone, welcome to the Indie Game Devlog number 5. In this video, I'm excited to show you my new prototype, Prototype 1.3. I've made a lot of progress, and I feel like I know what the game is about. It feels really cohesive, so I'm excited to show you the gameplay footage. Welcome to Prototype 1.3. This is the hub world, which I'll explain a little later. What I want to show now is Zara's dodge roll. It's part of a new movement set, and allows her to dodge out of the way of projectiles and also melee attacks. The other addition is Directional Attacking, so rather than Zara just attacking in one direction, you can now move the joystick in any direction whilst fighting, and that feels really great to do. In combination with the dodge roll and the Directional Attacking, you can also dodge in any direction after an attack, which also feels great. So those are the two new parts of her moveset, which makes it feel a lot more complete. In terms of the core gameplay, what I really want the game to be about is Zara, the Guardian, combat, exploration, and light puzzles. So we've gone back to the static camera, and I've decided to lock that in. The static camera is perfect for the type of gameplay that I want, and for the length of game development that I want. In terms of the scope of the project. So I want a static camera that will move within the world to different levels and different areas. And the character will use a bow and arrow, which is the player, the Guardian, which is you. And Zara will run around the world, jump, explore, and fight. So here we have some prototype enemies. These are ranged enemies, and Zara can attack the ones on the ground, but the ones higher up or that fly, the player will fight, whilst Zara dodges, and that's what you see here. It's a really nice feeling to shoot the arrows whilst Zara is dodging and moving around. It's also pretty fun to destroy these pots that are lying around. The collectibles move to your hand, and it's a really nice feeling, especially with the controller, because it gives you haptic feedback. It's something you have to experience. Unfortunately, with this VR game, it's hard to show on YouTube because so much of it is when you have the headset on, the experience you get. Watching the projectiles fly towards Zara, turning her head to make sure she's safe, whilst you're trying to fight enemies that she cannot reach. It's something that hopefully looks good on YouTube and makes sense, but when you play it, it's a completely different feeling to just watching it. Here we have a simple introduction into moving these, I'll just call them the blue boxes, moving the blue boxes around. Eventually they will of course have art, but this is kind of an introduction of all of my very simple mechanics that will be built upon during the game. So what you see here is something I'm very happy with, where the game is finally coming together. And I know exactly what direction I want the game to go in. And I feel extremely lucky because it's only been 7 weeks. Sometimes it can take many months to figure out what your game is about and to have whatever emotion you want. So for me, I want to feel engaged and compelled to play the game, and I want to have fun. And I'm enjoying making it, and I'm also having fun playing it. And the people I get to play test it are also having fun, so it's really great. I feel extremely lucky. Before we head off, I want to show you a little technical behind the scenes process. Not sure if you guys are that interested in this stuff, but we'll see what you think in the comments. So what you see here is actually the level. We start off in the hub world, which you're familiar with. Zara then runs into this trigger volume. Then magically we're teleported to this location, and Zara comes into this location over here where this target actor is, if you see over here. And then Zara will perform the platforming and you'll fight the enemies. Enemies will spawn in this trigger volume, and then we'll go to this next trigger volume, which again teleports us over here. And then the final trigger volume, which transports us to this place, which is currently the final level in the scene. So that's the overview, right? And that's exactly what you saw in the video. But how does it all exactly work? Well, what I'm using is something called level streaming. It's a technique that's been around for quite a long time. If you remember in Ratchet and Clank and Jak and Daxter, levels were quite long and they were all loading in and streaming stuff dynamically. That way you didn't have to, say, run through a section of Ratchet and Clank and then you get hit with a loading screen to get to this next section. Similar, if you think about in Half-Life 2, there's lots of little loading sections. Level streaming is a great way to get around that and to keep the player immersed in your game and keep them going through. So I, of course, wanted level streaming for my game. And in Unreal, they have this nice little tab over here, which is called Levels. And you can actually throw levels into here and have them load out in and out dynamically based off the blueprints or code that you write. And for me, I wrote a bit of code, a bit of blueprints, which has a trigger box, as you can see over here. There is a box here. And this box is what collides with the player. And then all this functionality will run. So in terms of functionality, Zara is going to run into this, and it's going to load a level, which is based off a string. And this name is exactly what you see over here. Map underscore A1, which is short for Area 1, Level 1. And that will load this level chunk over here. What this kind of looks like in Engine is actually this. When the game starts, none of the other levels are loaded. Everything has to be told to load in, and it has to be told to become visible. So when Zara starts here, the level loads, and when she runs through this collider here, it will go and say logically, well, let's fade the camera out and wait a second. I have a bunch of conditions, but the gist of it is it will say load stream level. It's going to check if there's a second level, and then it's going to check if we want to unload a level. So unloading a level is this functionality. We load in this level here, which is A1, level 1. Now, once I'm here, we don't actually need the hub anymore, right? Because Zara is not going to run around there. We still want to access it later in case Zara runs back, but we don't need it whilst we're platforming here and fighting enemies. So we may as well turn it off. So this bit of code here, the unload stream level, actually disables the hub. And what's great is in the future, I'll have characters here which are fully animated, the skeletal meshes. There's going to be a lot happening here with art assets. So once it's unloaded, it's not taking up that all that memory. And only this section of the level is loaded. You might be wondering, how come you can see all these walls over here? Why is Zara still there, and why are these bits of geometry still here? They're part of the persistent level, and the persistent level has meshes. If you see here, this persistent mesh level, it has all these meshes so that the character, the player, believes it's a massive world. It's kind of like faking a massive world by showing specific meshes. So if the player was to lean forward out of their chair and look over here, it feels like there's actually a world over there, but it's all an illusion. I'm just choosing what meshes the player will see. If you want to think of a more final version, the player might see a castle in the distance, and I want that to be persistent. It will be a very low poly castle, but from a distance it will look detailed, and it will give you a sense of scale in the world, and you'll figure out your bearings in the world. So yeah, that's kind of the basics of it. You're loading things in dynamically. So you're loading your stream level and you're unloading the level. And the illusion of it is actually the camera fading in and out, which is quite nice. And of course, you have to move the camera, which what I do with that is, if you see over here, I have a camera location and a Zara location. Anywhere there's these target points, I can actually select the eyedropper and just click on this. Whoops, let me just do that again. It's not selecting it, hold on. I can just do it from here. Camera location, there we go. So this is the camera location and this is the Zara location. And every spot has a camera location and a Zara location. So this is the camera location, this one here, and this is the Zara location. And this allows me to teleport the player and Zara around the world when it fades in and out. And it allows me to easily decide where the camera will be and where Zara will be, the two most important things. And then I just build a level around that. So yeah, it's quite simple. It's a great system. It's called level streaming if you're interested in investigating it further. And I prefer it over open level because I feel like I'm stitching a world together. It's a very organic process. And just to show you one more thing, if I was to duplicate level 3, and it's called level 4 now, I can actually expand the world further in a few seconds. So I'm going to drag level 4 in. I'm going to untick all this. And you'll see level 4 is now this section here because I duplicated level 3. If I select actors, I can actually move this forward and start building the next part of the world. I can do a lot of things here, right? And that's quite exciting. And all I had to do was drag in the level, and I can start rearranging this and building it differently. And that's something very exciting if you think of it as a level designer, because you can create a world so quickly using level streaming. So yeah, I'm just going to delete that now because I don't need it. That's kind of how it works. I hope that was an interesting insight. Let me know if you like these little technical breakdowns of what I've achieved, and if you'd like to see more of this stuff, in addition to the gameplay updates. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the mix of the devlog plus the more technical behind the scenes. I'd love to know your thoughts on it. And thank you to all the Patreons for supporting me. The new resource drop article is up for any Patreon. And I just wanted to mention that I'm going on holidays for 2 weeks. I'm still going to have videos scheduled, but the Indie Devlog will be on pause until I get back. So I'm not disappearing this time, like the last few times. I have scheduled content, and we'll be right back to the devlogs when I'm back. Anyway, thank you again so much for watching. I will see you all in the next video.